recording of this session. And it's my pleasure to introduce everyone to Stephanie Larson, President of Children's Art Classes. And Stephanie, I'll let you take it from here.
Great, thanks, Sean. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining today. Going through the agenda, I think everybody received the studio tour. If you didn't, please let us know. We're not going to spend any extra time on that lovely tour other than that, but if you need it.
They got it.
Okay, perfect. I'd love to talk to you guys today about the vision of children's art classes, the story of where we came from, and where we're going. We're going to look at the curriculum today, and a further breakdown of that, the model, including the launch plan and training and the marketing that's in place and the support that you guys are going to get along the way. And of course, questions and answers. We always welcome those during the presentation. As Sean said, we'll get really bored otherwise. So please ask questions as we go. I'll admit Maurice in here. And of course, my mother, Barbara, she's the founder of Children's Art Classes. I think you guys know Dennis Mulgannon. He's on the call with us today. Thank you for being with us, Dennis. He's the Director of Franchise Development, and Sean Hansen is also part of that franchise development team. I couldn't do it without these two men, so I'm very grateful for both of them for being on the call today. And Dennis, if you would just take a few minutes and speak to your history and your success, that would be great.
I won't bore anybody too long, but I've been lucky enough to be involved with about 10 startup franchises in my career. Last 17 years, put over 1,200 people into the brands you see on the screen there. I'm really proud of that. One of the things about, franchise scale brands is that we have longevity. Our brands make it. There's over 6,000 franchise opportunities in the marketplace today. 10, 12 years ago, there were about 2,200. So franchising's on fire. But, people always ask me, what's my why for CAC? And it's pretty straightforward. It just checked every box from, does the market need this? Yes, absolutely. Does the market need another frozen yogurt franchise? Probably not. We know where to put these from a location standpoint. Our build out is very, very simple. We're a subscription model, meaning all your money comes in one day. You're not chasing accounts receivable. We know how to hire and support the instructors, part-time instructors who have a background in this. But the number one reason is the curriculum. And I always tell people that's what you really want to pay attention to. It's what sold me that I'm a father of 4, became a grandfather last year for the first time. Colby, 16 months old now. And I get it. I get it at a very deep level, what this does for children in our communities. And it's just such a good field business. And you can make money doing it. So, and the other side of it is that it is well built for semi-passive ownership and or transitional out of what somebody's doing today. So whether it's building family wealth in conjunction with having a W-2 career, that's great. Or if it's something, hey, in 3 or 4 years, I'm looking to transition out what I'm doing. I'm going to build 2 studios or whatever the goal is. It's very adaptable to people's goal sets. So welcome, everybody.
Thank you, Dennis. And Sean, while you're with us, would you mind leading the round of introductions for me?
I'd love to. And again, welcome everyone to our Children's Arts Classes Virtual Discovery Day. As we go around the horn, we'll do that A Does Enough panel. We'll ask you to introduce yourself, where are you based, what excites you about Children's Art Classes, and something fun or interesting or unique about yourself. And also, as you're doing introductions, and we're seeing this more and more often, I think these might be your future peers, your future teammates. It's sort of an early intro, and it can be a lot of fun. I know, Stephanie, we recently hosted a training session where we had a bunch of people, and they were on Discovery Day together. Now they're in Jax together and launching their studios together. So I'm going to go ahead and start at the top. RJ, would you mind kicking us off?
Absolutely. Hi, I'm RJ. I'm out here in Arvada, Colorado. That's a western Denver suburb, right between Denver and Boulder. Excited about children's art classes because it was a thing missing in my upbringing. I had maybe a little tiny nugget of talent. We couldn't really afford extras like this. It was something I always sort of saw happening over there and would love to, make it more available to more people and, really help the next generation of locally my town. Interesting fact or something unique about me. I guess how interesting and unique this is. Like I said, I'm the my brain works the exact opposite way of fine art. Like I'm a data guy. I've been doing machine learning since 2003. In every other aspect of life, it's kind of like, don't tell me about your feelings, show me the data. And so I've definitely promised myself already that if I get started on this, I'm gonna go through the curriculum too.
That's great. A lot of our owners are doing that. They're going through and taking the classes. It's pretty neat. Well, welcome. How about Robert?
Yeah, hello. Robert King, based in Fremont, California, which is in the Bay Area. Exciting about CAC. I think it just has a huge potential. I love working with children. My wife, who'll be joining me here in a moment, she and I both love the idea of working with kids, and furthering their excitement about art. So yeah, and I think as far as something unique about me, my wife and I, maybe it's not so unique, but just a small nugget about ourselves. We just were married about 2 years ago, and she's from London, and I'm from Texas, so it's kind of an odd match, but we're making it work. And yes, that's our unique thing, I guess, about ourselves.
Great.
Excellent. Welcome. Yeah, that whole Bay Area, man, we got to get these kids off screens. It's really good for our model. So I think that'll be great. And just for your reference, Robert, you might know, Dennis and I probably live about 90 minutes from your front door. We're up in El Dorado Hills in Northern California as well. So cool. Maurice, would you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, Maurice Marsh. I am based out of the Tampa Bay area. What excites me about CAC is helping the community. While I gain passive income and also generational wealth for my kids, something that they could take over possibly in the future. Interesting facts about me. I don't know if there's anything interesting about me, really. Migrated from New York, love smoking, barbecuing and smoking. That's about it.
Nice.
That's interesting. I like good barbecue. Yeah, especially somebody that can smoke. I'm horrible at that. Well, welcome. And James, would you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, James Colasanto. I'm in Merrick, New York, which is on Long Island, so it's a suburb of New York City. Pretty cool to see people on here from all over the country. And really, really exciting everything so far. For me, it's just an interesting way. I think people have mentioned getting involved in the community, but also for my family. My wife was an art major. My kids love art. It's one of the things that they are doing all day long. They're not the kind of kids who are out there playing sports. They rather be inside drawing or coloring or, doing crafts. I know obviously this is more than just crafts, but that's what excites me about this. I guess something interesting about me is right now I'm also training for a sprint triathlon. I did one earlier this year. This is going to be my second, and I'm struggling with the swimming, but I'm hoping to get there. But that's what I'm working on as well right now.
That's great. And you talk to people up there on Long Island, right? Some of our guys that are about to open. How's that?
Yeah,
How
I
was
spoke
that?
to both of them. Interesting experience. I was gonna follow up with them, see how they're doing right now, because I know, dang, why can't I think of his first name? Alan.
Oh, Ryan.
Yeah. So I know they're opening soon, so
They
was gonna
got
follow
open.
up.
They did it.
Oh, they did get open in August. Okay, so they've got some summer camps, I guess, going right
Yeah,
now.
last week they had
Ryan
their-
Allen, yeah, I am meaning to follow up with him, see how things have gone so far, and catch up with those two, because it's pretty exciting to have two that aren't too close to me, but also are also in the same it's in the same county. So, we know we know the whole area pretty well. So, I'm excited to have people I can work with close by, as well as meeting, you guys here, across the country that we can share experiences with.
Love it.
That's wonderful. And so definitely go visit Ryan. I can't, we're opening up. You'll see the map really coast to coast. And for everybody on the session, again, I'm going to probably have to drop off a little bit early, but as we go into site selection and real estate and those elements, keep in mind, we protect your territories. And so, James, you won't be competing with those guys, but you will have shared marketing opportunities. You might have a part-time teacher that you sort of rotate and share, other resources. If we're doing a community event, y'all pitch in and buy a pop-up tent instead of free tents, right? And you'll find that as a good force multiplier. And the fact that we protect always a radius with at least 20,000 kiddos is really part of really Stephanie's leadership and our core DNA of making sure that everybody has a great opportunity to succeed. And I highlight that, as other folks, I think like Maurice, we've got a couple in Tampa. In Tampa Metro, nobody up north where you are. And as we look at like Robert, we're about to open in San Jose, and RJ, we're over in Aurora. So and we want you to meet one another, and because we've built an incredible team and growing with fantastic people. So excellent. Well, Stephanie, that's everybody we've got. I think we've got one that might straggle in and join us, but again, everybody, welcome to our virtual Discovery Day. Such a pleasure to have everyone here.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, guys. Becoming part of our story. So the vision for children's art classes is to be the recognized provider of art education and instruction to the littles, 3 years old, all the way up throughout the country. I've always had it in my heart that this program needs to be shared with as many kids as possible. There's so many benefits, even outside of just becoming a better artist. What they get by being in the studio and developing those critical thinking skills and increasing that self-esteem is so needed, so needed. So that is the biggest vision that we have, and the reason why is, again, because art is fundamental to kids' development. It's proven that it helps their academics and their focus. And we need all the help we can get right now with their little handheld devices taken over. So that focus is really needing some help there. And I think that given this opportunity for kids, they feel so proud of what they accomplish. And that's really the number one goal, is to increase that self-esteem and give kids that confidence that they know that they can do something they try hard at. So the goals are to educate and to enrich the students in the communities that we serve. And the only way we can do this is through a team of successful franchise owners across the country. And it's very exciting to be able to be working with different people coming from different backgrounds. We have such an amazing team of people that I get to work with every day. I continue to improve and evolve. There's a lot of wonderful minds that are part of this team now, where there's continuous improvements to making things easier, to providing better communication between franchisees. It's an ongoing thing that we're constantly improving. And we want to make sure that the business model is going to create success for each person that's on the team.
All right. That was amateur hour. Just because I have to dip doesn't mean I'm in the whole meeting for everybody.
Listen, it's a big day. You have all the grace that you need. So let me just see if I can get back to sharing.
I'm gonna go try. So give me one moment. I'm making you co-host.
I was for sure it was something I did. I usually am notorious for breaking things that have anything to do with technology.
But that wasn't you?
I guess not this time. Phew.
All right. I know a couple joined a little bit late. I'm gonna see my son off here at college and have to drive home. So yeah, I'm about to break my heart. Wish you guys
Oh, good luck, Sean.
and I won't end the meeting for everybody this time. Sorry
Well,
about
good luck with it all.
that.
All right, let's see from current. Okay. How are we doing? Can you guys see? Let's back up here a little bit. Here we go. All right. Talking about our journey. Sorry about that, guys. So this business all started because of my mother, Barbara. who turned 73 yesterday. She started this business out of our home in the garage because she needed extra income. And she quickly outgrew that garage space and went into her first retail location in 1997. Fast forward many years, my mom and I were able to open a studio together in Jacksonville. We outgrew that space, which is why we have those square footage requirements in place for you guys. But we moved into another spot in 2012, and then a few years later, we opened a space for my sister, who she still manages that children's art classes space out here in Orange Park. And in 2018, my husband and I opened a third family studio out in Ponte Vedra, which is still going strong. We had looked into franchising probably 12 years ago. It was nothing that my mom and I could have done on our own. So again, very grateful to Dennis and to Sean for taking us on and allowing us to get this business into different communities across the country. So we launched our franchise in the height of COVID, 2020. A very slow start. I'm very grateful for that slow start because I've learned so many different things that I need to know to help other people be successful. So I'm very grateful. 2021, we had 8 open, and then we kind of creeped open to 13, and we've got 21, I think, open now, and we've got 20 more opening before the end of the year, early January. It's just on fire. It's just going strong, and it's so great to see where this is going, but it took some time to get everything in place. So I'm grateful that we have it already. This map is really awesome to see that we are getting there coast to coast. We've got another one coming in Montana soon, which is a family member. Very excited about that. But the map is filling in. And again, that is the mission, is to serve as many communities as we can, because I think this program benefits all. The curriculum is designed in such a way where a student can stay at your studio as long as they love it. This is Anastasia. It's one of many students that have spent their whole youth in the studio. She graduated last year from high school, and I had her since she was 3. So it was really an amazing experience as a teacher to have a student to nurture all those years. And it really is designed to be that way for whoever wants it. They reach a certain point in the curriculum where it becomes independent study, and we're able to facilitate what that child wants to learn. And they figure out what they like or don't like a lot earlier, instead of having to pay for that in college. They can find out what they want to do beforehand, which is great. So the program is designed in this way. It's very much age appropriate for all kids up until age 9. Once they're 9, they're going to start at that Art 1 level, because that's the foundational class that leads to everything else in the curriculum. As a business owner, this truly can be a part-time business for you. This program is after school primarily. You can run a 5-day schedule with one instructor. We do have franchise owners that decide to hire more than one teacher. It truly comes down to what the availability is of that instructor. So it can be run with 1, 2, or 3, depending on what they can cover of the schedule. But for you as an owner, that person in the studio becomes more of a studio manager / teacher, which allows you to be able to work remotely for most of the time, just answering phone calls and emails. The investment for the studio is relatively low in the franchise world. I'd say it's closer to, 125 all in, depending on where you live in the country. And you have such a great team of people to help support you as you build your business, and even after you open, that support is there. So rock stars like Dennis and Sean contribute to that team, which I'm very grateful for. Questions up to now? Are we doing okay? I see Robert's wife there. Hi, welcome. Good to see you. Please jump in at any time. Looking at your role as an owner. So twice a year, you're going to be making your big schedules. That would be for your school year, your after school classes, and then another schedule for summer. Both of these schedules are created back to back. So we make our summer schedule in February, we make our fall schedule in March. Everybody registers for these things early, so we want to have those in place every year pretty early, getting ahead of the game. So you can plan for that. There are going to be birthday parties that you schedule intermittently through the school year as people want to sign up for birthday parties. You can have special events. I know I've spoken to most of you that your studio does have a lot of hours where it sits there pretty lonely. So there's a lot of opportunity for additional revenue there. If you wanted to bring the Girl Scouts or the Boy Scouts in once a month for a badge making, they could do a ceramic project. You can run our Art One curriculum and offer that to seniors during the day. You can do homeschool classes. So there will be opportunity for you to perhaps grow your schedule depending on enrollment. August, where I'm living right now, we have an open house tomorrow. So August is always open house time. We purposely start our class schedule 2 to 3 weeks after school starts. So in Florida, for whatever reason, they like to start school really early when it's still 100 degrees here. So kids went back, my son was back last week, and we spend August every Saturday doing those open houses, gearing up for when we start classes after Labor Day in September. So I have a lot of studio owners, depending on where you live, that have their school running well into June. So they're still doing summer workshops where they are, and school doesn't start till well into September. So we obviously will adjust depending on where you are. So many different marketing opportunities. We'll get into that later. I'll try not to get ahead of myself. But during the year, you're going to be identifying what sources work best for marketing where you are. It becomes very routine for us as business owners, what we're going to do for marketing and when. There's always a bigger push when we're getting ready to promote our summer schedule, which again starts really early. So different ways to market your schedule. You're looking at that in March to market for summer. And then you're looking at July and August, there's a bigger push to market to your back to school fall classes. There's so many different ideas out there right now for different marketing strategies that we'll touch on in a little bit. It's exciting. So yeah, there's local marketing is important. Also, there's opportunity in Peach Jar, which is kind of like a digital flyer. There's a lot of different online kid websites that are utilized, and more these social influencer people. This is not my world, but these are great ways to get the word out by little video reels. They'll come into your studio, they can record an event happening and then blast it out to all the mom groups, homeschool groups, things like that. That's been really effective. So during the month, while your classes are in session, you want to, in the beginning, you want to really be present in your studio a lot, because I think the more you pour into it in the beginning, your teachers are going to live up to those expectations that you've set for them. You'll get things going where it's going to be autopilot a lot quicker for you if you, I don't know, overdo it in the beginning as far as micromanage, even down to the last detail of how shirts are hung on the stools. This is a business. You want it to look a certain way. And I think that the more you're present in your business in the beginning, the quicker you're going to be able to have that semi-absentee ownership role. Everything that we do is through Sawyer Tools. So much of the schedule making process, the monthly tuition collections, everything is managed through Sawyer. It makes it really easy for the business owner. This all used to be check or cash, this business, which was you're collecting all month long, which was no fun at all. So this is that subscription model, which is nice, recurring revenue. The only time you'll see a hiccup is if somebody's card is compromised or expired, and Sawyer kind of stays on top of that parent until they update their credit card, which is nice. It takes a lot of that busy work off your plate. Through Sawyer Tools, you can create additional workshops, special events. We close down when kids are on break for school, like Christmas time, we're off for 2 weeks, but that doesn't mean you can't plan special events during that holiday time for kids that are staying home. During Christmas break, maybe you have a clay Santa workshop. There's so much, and there's curriculum for all of these things as well. CAC owners meetings. I'm big on collaboration. We've recently added a Teams chat for all the owners, which I feel is very valuable, especially for newer owners that have those one-off questions. Everybody in the organization has a desire to help other people, so it makes it a really nice environment for new owners coming in to know that they could throw a question out there and they'll have 6 or 7 or 8 different franchisees saying, hey, you know, this is what I did, or this was easy, or this, you know, there's a lot of conversation going, which is valuable to me. Teacher trainings, those are once a month. This is company wide. They're held by Martha Boyson. All of our CAC instructors are required to attend once a month trainings. They're for 1 hour, and they're on Teams as well. I welcome all owners to attend these as well. You learn a lot about your business just by being on these teacher calls. Most of your supplies are ordered in 2 big batches during the school year. You know, getting ready for that September timeframe to start. You've got your art supplies already ordered coming in. During the year, there's going to be certain things that need to be replenished. So that having that system in place with your teacher is important. So you know if they're running low on different items. I'm kind of a distance from all 3 of our studios here. I'm an hour one direction to all of them. So we do expense cards for our teachers. So I'm not making a 2-hour trip to replace toilet paper, things like that. So there's things that you can do as well to make sure that they have what they need. But most of the items that are needed for the curriculum are ordered as one big art supply order. Clay tends to run out, so you'll have to replace certain things. But for the most part, you only order twice a year. So the biggest part of this slide, I think, is that minimum of 4 hours a week for your first 4 years. That's what you want to commit to being at your business. Not only just oversee things and make sure everything is going smoothly, but you know, this is part of being better to communicate what we're doing to parents. If you're in the studio seeing it happen, you're going to absorb a lot of things that are going to resonate with people calling you about your program. Know your business, so important. And if you can be there at special events, even at the end when you're first open, that's important too, because we like to convert all those birthday party people to people taking art classes if that's the kids' interest. So I help you with your schedule your first couple years out. We have proposed schedules that are just based on historical, you know, schedules that we've made, what times have worked. We've played around with a lot of times, especially for the tiny hands. So I know what classes have not worked over the years and what class times do work. And we also don't want, you know, to overschedule certain classes on your schedule as well. Like tiny hands, for instance, is the hardest to teach, and you only have 6 of them at a time. So we limit the tiny hands to 2 classes to start with on your schedule. So I help you with that schedule creation. And then down below, it's just showing you some other ideas for things that you can do at your studio as far as birthday parties or field trips, team building events, lots of holiday workshops, especially depending on your community. You can cater to what the interests are around you. You can do tiny hands with mommy and the little during the morning time. You can have special needs classes if your teacher has that certification. Again, same thing with art therapy. If you have a licensed art therapist, you are welcome to use your space to help people in that way as well. And adult classes are always a hit. They do Art 1 like everyone else, and our adults can come back year after year as well. So for those of you who are going to commit to taking Art 1 as a business owner, it's the best decision ever. This is a skill like anything else, and I know you can be taught, but you will learn so much about your program by being a student. This is just taking a look at a sample class schedule. We typically start with 5 days a week, and that will give you room to grow. If you have classes that are now waitlisted, you can open up more classes, but typically this is a good set schedule to start with as you grow that business and grow your enrollment. I like the Monday through Thursday with the Saturday on the weekend. I've done it both ways. I've had Tuesday through Friday with Saturday on the weekend. It just really depends on on where you are, but the Monday class schedule seems to work pretty well, Monday through Thursday. Taking a look at special events and parties. As of late, we have so many new studios opening right now where they are just packing the calendar with these special events, just 2-hour events. The kids are doing clay or painting, but it's been a great way to bring in new people to the studio and therefore turn around and register them for the fall classes. So having that hands-on experience has been a great way to convert kids that are just attending a one-off event into full-time students. So we really try to keep those type of events to painting or clay. If it's something else that's a little bit off the beaten path, that's fine. I just need approval on it. I don't want something to go in the direction of like arts and crafties. I want to make sure that it stays true to what we do, so it's representing children's art classes in the curriculum. I clicked ahead too fast, but I wanted to have Dennis speak on what we're looking at right here. There's a lot of different opportunities that you can do as a business owner with your studio to encourage kids to participate and to give them ways to, I don't know, win extra contests and things like that. And Dennis had a great idea for a contest at our studios across the country. So Dennis, if you would please tell us what we're looking at here. That would be great.
My family, we own a ranch on the Sierra foothills, and it's a charity ranch where we raise money for pediatric cancer research. It's a pretty unique ranch in that I'm a huge baseball guy, and I built a miniature version of Fenway Park. It's a wiffle ball field, and we have charity wiffle ball tournaments, and we raise usually somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000 for Keaton's Child Cancer Alliance. But the other thing we did is we remodeled a house on the property, the primary house, and I'm also big time into mid-century modern architecture. And does anybody remember the Brady Bunch? Show of hands. Anybody other than me? Okay.
Totally.
So on the right, I replicated, my contractor replicated the staircase from the Brady Bunch house. Yes, that's actually it. And we needed the vase that gets broken in this episode. So we did a nationwide contest, and there's the winning vase on the left, and there it is at the ranch house, because we had to replicate everything, the horse, everything. But the vase is a CAC vase, and we gave a gift. I think it was $250 to the child that won, Stephanie. And
Yes.
so you can be as creative as you want. So, and I'm not artsy guy either. So, but it turned out it was great.
It was a great contest. The kids were so excited about it. So a lot of ways for you to give back to your community using your CAC as your platform. So the curriculum, this has been tweaked and changed and perfected over the last 27 years of teaching it. My mother, Barbara, was fully involved with the creation of this program. And it is the reason why this has been so successful for almost 3 decades now. It's because of that curriculum. So when you come onto the team, know that the curriculum is the secret sauce. This is why we're different. It's still mind-blowing as we grow to know that there's so very few things out there in the market that are like this program, where a kid really can continue to build their art education year after year with nothing repeating. It's pretty amazing. So we have made things more accessible to the teachers. My biggest goal is to make sure that our teachers are supported. This business works because of the curriculum and who is teaching the curriculum in the studio. So as we were growing our franchise, I wanted to make sure that I developed additional tools for our teachers. So there really wasn't any room for question. I wanted to make sure everything was mapped out. So I developed a training site for our teachers that they get onboarded and they can access the copies of the digital curriculum there. In addition, there's photos of every single finished project at every level of the curriculum. So here's the goal. This is what we're trying to get the kid to learn. There's visual examples there for our teachers. And then I continue to add training videos anytime we're in the studio. If I feel like something is helpful for our teacher to execute a project in a certain way, that's also added and uploaded to that to that training site. Our teachers are also required to take photos of their finished work. This is my way of giving you a sense of quality control. Martha Boyson actually is in charge of all of our teacher training, so we put eyes on what the finished product looks like. Because guys, ultimately what's walking out your door is your marketing. And if it's good quality artwork that a kid is proud of and a family can say, oh my gosh, I'm spending money on something that's really giving back to my kid in this way, the proof is right in front of your face. So if something is not looking up to snuff, it's not to say, oh, you should do it, but how can we help you do this in a better way to get better results? Because ultimately the curriculum is going to be repeated for these teachers year after year, and they're going to get really good at whatever they've learned to do. So I want to make sure they're learning it the right way to begin with. So that's really important. A lot of communication there, a lot of engagement during those teacher trainings to make our teachers feel like they are part of this team, and we do like to hear their feedback.
Hey, Stephanie, we got a couple of questions in the chat if you want to address those. I can read them or you can jump in chat.
You just read them off and then I'll answer them. How about that?
Perfect.
I don't want to break.
From Robert, what time and day of week do you typically hold the teacher training?
So Martha gives 2 trainings a month. She does one in the mornings and then one late evening in case people have day jobs. I believe it is 10 a.m. Eastern Tuesdays and then like 8 p.m. Eastern Tuesday nights. So two options there. And we do record all trainings if a teacher had to miss for whatever reason.
Second question from Luke. Do you leverage your art teachers to help market, especially for additional activities? Do you incentivize them differently for those? Like if they can help secure a scout troop or if they're certified for special needs education and bring in business that way?
Absolutely yes to both of those things. When your teacher is hired on, they can help you at events in the community. As of late, farmers markets have been golden tickets to get the word out. There's so many families there, and this is kind of heading into fall is a great time. And your teacher can be with you. We always do activities at our tables at these events, which gather all the children. We do a block printing activity on the back of our flyer. So you have artwork on one side from the kid and then the flyer information on the other. So having the teachers along for these events allows you to communicate the program to the families while they're helping the kids do the project. Works really well. I like to create individual promo codes per teacher and send them into the community with a bunch of their flyers. So you can incentivize them by, if you see registrations with that teacher's promo code on it, you can kick them back however much. Maybe it's 25 bucks a kid that gets registered or signed up. I'm all about incentives. I think that really resonates with people. And you can do the same thing once your teacher has been with you for the school year. All the kids that come back to that teacher, you could incentivize them in that way as well. So a lot of ideas there to incentivize teachers and make them feel a part of the team. Good? Awesome. Love the questions. Keep them coming. As the kids get older, so let's say they're on to the Art 4 level, they've gone through Art 1, 2, and 3. Art 4 is independent study. So as art teachers, we're able to sit with the child. They're going to develop a theme for that school year, so all of their artwork is somewhat cohesive, and they can explore different mediums that they've never tried. Our goal as teachers is to facilitate them learning whatever it is that they want to try out. We've had students sew. We had one kid that was really into fashion design, or so she thought. She didn't want to do it by the end of the year. She's like, I've tried it, I've done it, I don't want to. And she knew that at the ripe old age of 13 instead of her second year in college and changing majors. So we can bring in the tools that these kids need to try out different areas of art so they can find their way in that direction. And that's why kids can come back. Art 5, Art 6, we had 3 kids, Art 10 last year. As long as they love it, there's no end to what they can do in the studio. And we've done it all, from airbrushing to metal fabrication to sculpture. It's really whatever they want to do. And for a business owner, you might think, oh my gosh, I have to buy these things. Well, anytime you buy something for your studio, it's something else you can offer another kid. And they've been with you for 4 years now, paying that $135 art supply fee, and you're out a few sheets of paper and some pencils. It's okay to kick back some money into what they want to do at this point. And then you'll have those resources at your studio for your other advanced kids as they go through. We're all about building portfolios with the students. You as a business owner can have your ear to the community. There's different portfolio events for students that are looking to go to art college. You can bring in that person to the studio to help do portfolio reviews. We do that every year for our kids. There's so many different ways to get your students' artwork out there in the community, whether it's library events, sometimes there's art shows at the fair, but it's just fun to kind of have an ear to what's happening outside of your studio and offer those opportunities to your students. It's not up to you if they participate or not, but just making them aware that there's other things they can participate in is a great idea for the kid and their growth. I love that there's opportunity for these young people to become art teachers one day or even own a studio. It's amazing to see that go full circle. I have 3 past students of mine that are currently employed by me teaching at our Jacksonville location. It's very rewarding to see that. They were all with me through Art 10 level, went off to college, got their degrees, and now they're teaching at our studio where it all began. So pretty amazing that there's more to offer these kids, and planting those seeds early is pretty awesome as well. And nothing
Another
repeats.
question for you, Steph.
Yes.
Luke, again, how do you address class sizes with natural attrition of students over the years? Do you combine or can you bring more experienced students into an upper level class?
Okay, great questions. So how we approach this, your first year in business, you will only have up to the Art 1 level because Art 1 is a prerequisite for our students. You have to attend Art 1 before you can go on to Art 2. So year 2 as a business owner, your Art 1 classes actually now become Art 1 and 2 classes. We do not do Art 2 class only because that limits registration. So instead we offer Art 1 and 2 and we teach that together. Still only 12 students in the class, but you're able to have the Art 1 students going and being taught that curriculum while you're teaching your Art 2 students. And this allows plenty of room for those kids to enroll and have a lot of options for different class times. When you get into year 3 where you have those Art 3 students, you now need to add an additional class, possibly 2, depending on your enrollment for your Art 2 students. You always have to check how many Art 2s are going to be moving up to Art 3. Art 3 is a class all by itself. It's college level work, and they do projects that require a lot of space. Still 12 kids in the class, but you do now add the Art 3 class to your schedule, and there's usually 2 classes of Art 3. So you might swap out an evening class. We tend to keep them in the that 6:30 time slot twice a week because they're a little bit older kids, and typically that works out with their schedule for that later class time. Kids can't come in and join the advanced classes without going through Art 1, 2, and 3. Whether they're 15 years old or 89 years old, everything that they learn for the remainder of the curriculum is based on what they're taught in Art 1. And believe me, I've done this for long enough where you have parents that have, their child's a prodigy. And so of course they could start at Art 4. But it's a visual when I send the work back, what the Art 1 students do, and then they kind of go, oh, okay, they need to be in Art 1. Art 1 is extremely challenging. Even if you are an adult, even if you have had experience, that Art 1 class is a mandate. Does that answer that question? Hopefully. Okay, if not, just pipe in. Another one of my students, yes. Who is that? Luke?
I think he's just saying thank you.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Oh, you're welcome. This is Grace. She was one of my students. She's in year 3 at SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design. She's studying to become an architect. This is a student who knew she was going to art school. They're not always going to know if they want to do anything with art. It doesn't matter. They don't have to be Picassos. They could be there just to be working on that attention span or trying to get their grades better. Art does a lot of things. But if there's a kid that like Grace, who knows she was going to go, that was her goal, was to go to SCAD, you can help facilitate that by helping build that portfolio, writing the letters of recommendation needed. This child has been in our lives since she was 7, and she still comes to see me when she's home on break from college, but it's a rewarding feeling to know that you really do impact these young people's lives and help them get where they want to go. So Ebony Pencil, this was the project I saw from my mom's little studio in Roswell, New Mexico, where I'm like, how old are these kids? This is an 8-year-old? What are you talking about? This is where I fell in love with what she was doing and how these kids were so proud. But they don't have to have any prior experience. That's why the curriculum is so special. It is laid out in a way, especially for a teacher coming in, where here's the goal. It's broken down week by week of what is expected for that week of instruction, how to set up, what supplies are needed. So everything is really laid out in a way where they have to have that Bachelor of Fine Arts or art education degree, because you don't want to be having them rely on you to answer curriculum questions. They need to have that strong understanding of the different medias and how to use them. So that's why we're really a stickler on who's teaching in the studio. If it's not you, if it's you, you can learn it, you can teach it. I'm all about our owner operators, believe me. I was one of them. But if you know that you're not going to be teaching, we do have a teacher who's an art teacher. I don't need an artist, I need an art teacher. But every kid will have success with this project. It's the first project they do in Art One, and it's the one that gets parents going, oh my gosh, this is incredible. And these kids learn so much, and they all have success with this project because of the way we teach it. And you will too if you be a student of your studio.
It was the final reason I chose to franchise this when I saw this work. You guys look at this one now. It's crazy. And I'm like, any child could do this. And I'm like, yeah, this is good. This needs to happen in America. And here we are.
You know, it really is amazing. These kids blow me away all the time. But if you look at these wine glasses, this is June, and Dennis, I had lunch with him a few days ago. He's starting his second year of college, also studying architecture. But you know, you get to know these kids so well, you always want to see them when they're in town. But if you look at those wine glasses, these kids can identify shape and direction of line, and they've been taught in such a way where they understand value. They do everything in black and white in Art One until we teach them color theory at the end of the year, and then they finally get to touch color. But by Art 3, they can make any color in the world. They understand how to use color. They understand how to make the tints and the shades. They know how to draw. I mean, that's all Art 1 is, draw, draw, draw. So the results are amazing. These are pieces from Art 3 students. This is a medium called gouache. It's a opaque watercolor. Most elementary age kids don't touch this stuff. Most high schoolers don't touch this stuff. You might use it in college. It's a beautiful pigment that the kids get to use. But this is the level of work that we expect from our students because of the way they're taught. This is another lifer. This is Shiloh. She started when she was a kid. She went all the way through our program. She went off to college. She came back. She taught for me for 3 years, and now she's back to school becoming an art therapist. But again, another person that I got to spend their childhood with them in the studio. The franchise model. Let's talk a little bit about the launch plan. And there's certain things that we've tweaked and changed, and this slide might not be exactly perfect for what we actually are doing. So I'm going to talk to what we do and what I do with our franchisees every day. So if you know you want to do this, you want to set up your business entity, which could be LLC, S-Corp, depending on your loan. And you can also set that up once you're official as a franchisee. But the very first thing that we're going to do together is we're going to meet with my real estate team, with Gary Litvin, because we want to start your site selection right away. You and I won't have a lot of things to do for your business until we have an address. So I introduce you to Gary. Gary gets the local broker in your community who knows your market, and they know children's art classes and all the things that we need in the studio, and all the different things that we need to check off the list. Traffic counts as far as how busy the road is, the visibility, They have all the forms they need to go right to the landlord with a letter of intent. And that broker will help you negotiate against that landlord to get the right things that we need for you in this long lease that you're going to sign. And then when the lease is signed, the landlord actually will take care of and pay the broker that's helped you. So it doesn't cost our franchisees anything, but it's an extra layer of support. And I like it because Gary and I speak every day, so I get to preview the spots, the things that the broker will show us, what are available. Gary and I go through those and pre-screen everything. So then you have actual sites that are already approved by me. So you're not wasting your time and falling in love with a space that just won't work for what we need it to do. So that is a big piece. Once your lease is signed, then you and I are meeting every other week to make sure that everything is getting done to get you open. There is a training that's involved once your teacher is hired, you and that lead teacher. I actually had a franchisee hire 5 teachers and bring them all to Jacksonville, which was fun. But we do a hands-on 2-day training in Jacksonville, pretty much monthly, except for the month of December. I already have those dates on the calendar for September, October, and November. But it's a Jacksonville training. So the first day is hands-on training with observation of classes later that day. I'd like for you guys to see the studio in action, witness how the classes change, you know, from class to class, and have that teacher in the classroom as well, because it's different from being in the public school. There's a different culture inside the studio. You've got classical music playing, the kids are working. That is how the studio is supposed to feel from location to location. And I cannot recreate that feeling for you in a fresh, shiny, new, clean studio without kids in it yet. So coming to Jacksonville, doing that training is really important once your teacher is hired. We have a whole marketing plan of what to do once we have an address. We're real quick to make sure that we have a schedule created for you so you can start to market those classes and start to fill the seats before you even open the doors. I'm so excited to see our franchisees taking advantage of their window of time while their studio's under construction and getting those bodies into seats before they open the doors. It's very exciting. The goal is always 100 kids to open with 100. I haven't seen that exceeded yet, but I know that there's somebody out there that's going to exceed that number. But that's such a healthy place to start. Once you're open, your marketing plan changes quite a bit. It becomes word of mouth. It becomes, you know, the artwork that's leaving the studio and people posting that on their Facebook and, oh my gosh, where are your kids going? You know, that kind of stuff starts to happen once you're open. But before you open, getting that marketing plan in place, I help you with that. And it's really important to use every day of that time before you open to get the word out that you're coming to town. So that starts as soon as the lease is signed. Having those community events is really a great way to market this type of business. Like I mentioned, the farmers markets. At this time of year, there's a bunch of back to school events at the mall even. You know, they have big time expos where you can be a vendor. Any place you can set up a table, have your flyers, or not any place, not everything's appropriate. But those type of situations where you know families are going to be there, it's a great opportunity for you to be the mouthpiece of your own business. People do not know what children's art classes is yet. We're not McDonald's yet. I don't think we'll ever be at that McDonald's level because we're not designed to be everywhere, but we will need to be our own mouthpiece to let families know what this is really all about. Right now for art franchises, it's like go in, paint a piece of pottery, come back in a couple weeks and pick it up, the end. That's not what this is. So you have to be able to talk to people about the opportunity for your child coming back year after year. Everything you need to market is created for you in Canva. I provide the Canva access to all of our franchisees. Everything is plug and play. I mean, from social media posts to the pop-up banners that you want to have at events, to business cards, to flyers. It's all there. It's beautiful collateral. There's also a brand kit in place for all of our creatives that want to make their own stuff. Perfectly fine. There's the fonts, the colors, the logos, all of that's ready for you to use. But Don't be afraid to market with other businesses either. There's a lot of small business owners that are happy to take your flyers if you take theirs. This slide is just showing how everything is broken down week by week for the teacher. The curriculum notebooks are designed, we provide those for you, hard copy curriculum books, and it's all laid out in order. So all your teacher has to do is follow what's in the notebook page by page. Okay, talking about site selection, any other chat questions come up so far? Are we still good? Good, okay, cool. So depending on where you are, maybe your market is extremely expensive. Well, we can go lean. You can fully operate in a 1,200 square foot space with 2 nice sized classrooms. The goal is always to grow into that situation where you can conduct 2 classes at the same time, because that means you can totally max out your revenue earning from that one spot, which is the goal. So 1,200 square feet, you can completely take advantage of that 2 classroom situation. If you can go bigger and the money is right and it doesn't throw off on what we have to charge for tuition, go bigger. I mean, you can fill it, believe me, with all the art supplies that you're going to get. But 12 to 1,600 square feet, that's really what we're after. B-type real estate simply is saying, you know, everyday shopping centers. You don't need to be in a super affluent area of town where it's, you know, the brand new mall, where it's foot traffic only. That's not our space. We want to be on the road that's super busy, where people driving by see your beautiful children's art classes sign. It is still the #1 way people know about you is from driving by. With all the marketing things that we do, it's still the #1 way people know about you is I saw you driving by. And believe me, I track that stuff on registration. So we want high, high, high visibility. It makes a huge difference. It saves you a lot of money in the long run on marketing as well, because people know where you are. You don't have to spend a ton of extra money trying to navigate people to your space. So we look at all of those factors before you're off looking at spaces with your realtor. Everything is kind of done behind the scenes, so we have a space that's going to check all those boxes.
Got a question for you from Robert.
Sure.
If you have just one student that is ready for Art 3, is the expectation to have a class for just that one student?
I would not, as a business owner, do that. No, I would look at a class where I knew I could have, and I would be very specific to what I was teaching and who was in it. As a teacher, you know your students. But in that situation, which I would expect you to not just have one Art 3 student, haven't seen that yet, but we would filter them in with another class, because you don't want to pay your teacher to do, we don't do one-on-one. First of all, it's such a different feel in the classroom to just be with that one kid. So we would definitely accommodate them in another class. So they wouldn't be the only one, and then you wouldn't be paying your teacher just for that one student to teach. Hopefully that.
It does. Is there a cutoff though where you have a minimum
I
number of
don't
students?
I don't want to hold a class if I don't have at least 5 kids in that class. I'll try to filter those kids out. Doesn't mean that you can't conduct the class, Robert, because you will grow your business. Your first year in, we want to make sure that you keep every student that's registered. However, if you see a class with only 2 kids, that's when I'd be on the phone with that parent and say, let's see if we can move them into this class. This is a healthy class. This one's not, you know, didn't have as many kids in it. I think parents appreciate that too. It's a totally different vibe. You know what I mean? Being the only little loners in a class versus being with, you know, a nice healthy group of kids. So in your early first year of doing it, I would say the minimum I would have a class would be 3 kids. And you know you're going to be able to build enrollment because you're going to register kids all school year long. Just because we start at a certain time doesn't mean registration is over. You will get new students all year long. As long as there's an open seat, you can put a new kid in there. Now, Art 1 is a little different because all the younger kids, it's the same skill level throughout the year because they're learning something new almost every single week. So for the new kid joining, let's say it's January, and they're coming for the first time, they're going to just jump right in with everybody else and do that project that everybody else is learning. Now, with Art 1, they're progressing all year long. So there is a cutoff with Art 1, and it happens if you started a school year like September, like we do here, mid-March is when we close down registration for Art 1 because they've just missed too much information at that point. Prior to, if it's early March, we can still enroll the kid, but it's a conversation with the parent. They've missed 2 projects. Those 2 projects are offered in summer for all of our late Art 1 students that join. So they have to make up those 2 projects in summer. That way they can go on to Art 2 and they'll be up with their classmates and have all the information that they need. Does that make sense? It's a little different with the older kids, but you can still enroll new Art 1 students for quite a while before you have to shut that down.
Okay.
Okay. So co-tenants, they are important. We do pay attention to what other businesses are in the shopping center. Mathnasiums is kind of what we targeted because all of our studios here in Jacksonville just so happen to be by Mathnasiums, and they have a lot of locations and a big market research budget that we don't have as a little baby franchise. So we were following them around. Those are the same people. Those are our families that we serve. So if you have a mathnasium, if you have a dance studio, karate, music lessons, those type of co-tenants are great to be in the same shopping center with. However, visibility is so important that I would take, like we have in Utah, he doesn't have other kid businesses in his little strip, but he's directly across the street from Super Walmart on the road. You can't miss him. He's on the busiest road in town, and the registrations really flooded in because you absolutely know where children's art classes is in that city. So I would take that over who's with you in the shopping center any day. What do you think, Dennis? Based on what we've seen. Yeah. But so we help you. We're always looking at traffic counts. We're looking at demographics, how many school-aged children are around where we're looking. All of those things matter. We compare you to where we are at, where we're at in Jacksonville. Surprising enough, and a lot of people are under the impression that you have to go to the super affluent areas. You do not. I mean, look at the average income where we are here in Jacksonville. It's nothing crazy. So you don't have to be there. You need to be in a place that is easy for families to drop their kid off, go grab their groceries, pick them back up, super visible, easy to get to, not a destination only type of situation. And speaking to the amount of income that people make, the goal is to make this accessible to as many kids as possible. We are not an elitist program. We want to be affordable. And you have to understand, even though people could pay the money, their kids are in 6 and 7 different activities already. We want them to not blink an eye and say, oh, now we can add art, no big deal. So we really pay attention to how much are you going to spend on rent to make sure that it's going to line up with what we should be charging for tuition. And we've opened a lot of studios now, and I can tell you this, the sweet spot for tuition costs is between $125 and $135 per month. And that has been a really solid number to charge for tuition. It gets into that higher range, you don't have as many people being able to foot the bill. And it's not because they're not able to, it's because, like I said, their kids are already involved with a lot of activities. So we want to make sure that we stay affordable because we know the benefits of this program too. We do all of your floor plan design in-house. So we want to look at that floor plan that you get from the landlord and make sure that it's going to lay out in such a way that makes for a very functional studio space for you and for your teacher. So we do that design here in-house just to make sure we know where the walls are going to go and that we can accommodate all the kids that we need to. This is a basic layout of the studio I have in Ponte Vedra. It's a 1,200 square foot space. My husband and I always kick ourselves because if we would have moved that wall, the first wall to the clay studio in just a little bit, it would have made for a bigger second classroom. So that's what we do now. We try to keep those classrooms about the same size, knowing that at one point you guys are going to be able to have 2 teachers teaching at the same time. So we have small waiting room. You'll notice that on every plan that we do, the waiting room does not allot for many people to be in it because they don't stay there. They drop their kid off. 90% of the people, 99% probably drop their kid off. So typically we don't want to waste a bunch of square footage on that waiting room. It's about 5 feet deep and whatever the frontage is of your building, which usually is like 20 feet across the front. Plenty of room for like 8 chairs, plenty of room for the 1 or 2 parents that are going to stay behind while their kid does art. So you'll see very little space left for that waiting room, front classroom, second classroom, and then the back room is a workroom, which will have a bathroom and your kiln. We do have a kiln on site. We do a ton of pottery, so you will have to have your kiln purchased for your studio, and they will last you for a long, long time. This is the same floor plan, just in the 3D view to help you visualize a little bit better. I designate every color for you so you don't have any questions there. We have a wonderful sign company that does all your interior and exterior signage. So your mural, all of your decals that go on your doors. There's a beautiful map made for your lobby. All of that is part of your sign package that you get. Okay. Training and support. I am a teacher by trade. I hope to always be in contact with you as you go through. We meet bi-weekly, but even after you open your business, I stay in contact with our franchisees because I know that certain things come up. You do have a virtual business training that I send to you within 30 days of coming on as a new franchisee. I was conducting those on Saturdays for like 4 hours every Saturday. So I finally just said, I'm recording this. So I send that recording out. I send you your training manuals and some goodies your way. So you'll have some of those training materials to follow along with the virtual business training, which really covers what we're all about, how to talk to parents concerning each level of the program. I do a training on how to use a photo book. Your photo book is going to be your #1 resource for marketing yourself because it's visuals of all the different, not all the projects, but a good majority of the projects that the kids do by curriculum level. People don't read much, but they can see very quickly the quality of this program by showing them that photo book. So the training really teaches you on how to use that book effectively so you can communicate better with families interested in your program. Instructor training will start with your teacher even before your studio is open. Those teachers are welcome to start attending the online trainings that are held once a month. And then, as I mentioned, once that person is hired, then you guys will come to the training in Jacksonville, the 2-day on-site teacher training. Owners meetings are held, but my franchisees know that I'm reachable. Even if I'm in a meeting, just text me if it's something urgent. I'm that person. I want to make sure that you guys are taken care of. And that coaching and those phone calls really do continue until we're ready to go off on your own. But anytime you have a question, my mom, actually, Barbara, she's available every morning for our teachers to call directly if they have any questions concerning the curriculum. If it's something that they want to wait and cover in training, that's fine too. But I feel like that's a lot of support given to our teachers, knowing that they can reach out and actually have somebody on the other end of the phone. So the curriculum itself does have everything laid out where nothing is up to interpretation. And I tell all of the teachers that we interview, I'm sitting in on all those teacher interviews with our franchisees. And that's one of the things I ask them, how do you feel about following someone else's curriculum? Because they're not always going to be happy about that. And if they don't like that, then that's not going to be a good fit. We're looking for teachers that are on board, and majority of teachers are happy that they don't have to create their own lesson plans. So that's not a big pushback, but it is something that we want to know up front because we do expect them to follow the curriculum that's there for them. I think I've covered all of this already. The hiring, we were using a recruiting team. I've kind of gone away from that. Our owners are using Indeed. I have job posts ready for you to use. We do offer this as a part-time position. and give yourself, a window 10 to 20 hours, because not everybody you speak to is going to be able to cover the whole schedule. So sometimes you might have to hire more than one person, but Indeed has been great. One paid month of Indeed has provided wonderful applicants. And again, I'm happy to sit in those interviews with you. I can't tell you who to hire, but I will give you all of my feedback. So what's nice about the program is you as a business owner do grow into it as well. Like I said, your first year, you're only going to have up to Art 1, which is nice for the teacher. They're learning that program as you go. The Art 2 level is added your second year. Art 3 level is added the third year. And then Art 4 is added the fourth year. After that, it just becomes advanced art because you're going to have a mix of Art 4s, Art 5s, however many years that you've been open. That's called advanced. So our advanced classes, we have 3 on the schedule, and it's just a combination. It's only 12 kids, but some of them might be Art 8 or Art 4 or Art 6. It's wherever they're at, but they're all working independently. So you can have one class designated to those advanced art kids. Special events, ideas, and promotions. There's curriculum for all of these, but we do add new things all the time. As far as the event ideas go, and even summer workshops, I am open to bringing in new things for summer. I think we added 4 or 5 new workshops this past summer, which were brought to me by different teachers at different locations. They need approval, but if it's in line with what we're doing and it's for summer, I'm all about bringing in new things to bring in new people to your studio. We do more trendy things during summer, like we had a Wild About Wicked workshop this summer because the movie was released and such a big success. We got a ton of kids in. The Artful Axolotl, which is some crazy little fish salamander guy that kids are wild about. We did a whole workshop on them. Things like that we can approve for summer. And it's art, so we're never going to be out of ideas. We have a guy that's out in Utah. He used to work for Pixar, and so he does a ton of digital art. So I approved a digital art workshop. They tried it out this summer. It went really well. So if your teacher has expertise teaching digital art, that's available now. And I'm always open. The school year stuff, that's set in stone, but summertime, always looking for more things to add to the arsenal of workshops. The business itself, I promise to you, there's just not that many things for you to worry about as far as the operational side. It is very simple. I don't recommend you overcomplicating this business. It's simple by design. I think anybody can overthink anything they want to. I would suggest not. I suggest leaving it the way it is because it works and it's not too much to handle. And it really is a model where you can run more than one location if you'd like to. We do that after your first one is autopilot mode and you're paying yourself and your teacher's great, then studio number 2 becomes priority. But it's very doable. It's designed that way because of its simplicity, and with Sawyer tools in place where you can run all your revenue reports and message all your families and create your schedules on the fly and create your coupons. It's all right there. All right, market introduction plan. Questions? We're good? Let me know. Okay. I mentioned before, this is built to launch with at least 100 kids, but that doesn't mean you stop at 100. You're going to continue to register as you stay open. You retain so much of your students year after year. But again, it really depends on who is in that studio, who is teaching the classes. That teacher matters. We want somebody who loves kids and who has been successful at teaching art. The classroom management side is huge. They can't be a slob. This is a business. You need things to look good through the window. But this is really a business built to scale. And you could have another teacher learning the curriculum alongside that first teacher, maybe teaching only 1 or 2 days of the week. And that person will be ready for you to open your second studio when you're ready to open. You have a teacher who's familiar with the program, who's been helping you out already. So that's a great part of it. Everything is ready for you as far as your website goes. You will have your own location page. That location page does have the pop-up form. So before you have your address for your studio, we are already gathering people's information of who's finding you over Google and filling out that information form that they want to learn more and join your newsletter and all of that. So it's great. You can keep those people engaged as you get closer to opening the studio. When you set open house dates, you can have that growing list. We have MailChimp in place for our business owners to use, which works hand in hand with Sawyer, which is really nice. And we work with Scott Salvati. He's part of our team. He's with Lighthouse Marketing. So Scott will set up your location page for you. He can do any website fixes that you need. And he also does different marketing services a la carte. So you have a certain amount of money that you're supposed to spend on your business every month. I do not tell you how to spend that, but we have a lot of things in place that have worked. So we work on that with your marketing plan to get you open, but Scott can help you with a lot of those things. If you are not savvy like me with Facebook and things like that, he can help you with those ad campaigns. And
Question
then
from Lou. Steph,
Yep.
question.
Yes, please.
Do your art teachers usually stick around for a while? Curious what your average tenure is for those roles, or is it a high churn position where you're frequently recruiting for it?
So I'm looking to the studios that we've had open for 4 years, and that would be who? Lima, Marie, Kurt, and was it not Sue hasn't been open for 4 years. Out of those studios, I'm just thinking of the longest ones. One location has had more turnover, and I saw younger teachers at that location, which makes sense to me. I was once young and didn't know what I wanted to do, and different things in my life took me to different places. But like Rob in Massachusetts, he's had the same teachers from day one, and he's in his 3rd year. I think that if you have somebody who really is not looking to move and uproot or start a new family or start a new career, and maybe you look to like what Rob did. One of them is a retired art teacher of many, many years, and the other one works a few days as a elementary school art teacher at one of the elementary schools near the studio. So she's able to do like the weekends. So the turnover that I see tends to be with the younger teachers fresh out of college, truthfully, from what I'm seeing. So I think that you might have less turnover if you go with somebody who's, like I said, not really looking to move anytime soon. I like the idea of it is a part-time position. So somebody who maybe is retired, that's not looking to, be all about the money, just an extra stream of income and keep themselves active, doing something that they love. That's the perfect situation, right? It doesn't always work that way. But we keep the turnover at bay by really taking care of our teachers. This is a great place to be, a great family to be a part of. The teachers are supported, they're paid really well. And it's, you're not overworking them. They're not working more than 20 hours a week. And that's if you have one teacher teaching the 5-day schedule. So, if somebody's looking for part-time, it's a good gig. This is just looking at kind of as close as we can get to how things are laid out. Not everything goes exactly in this way, but really that the launch of the website, the coming soon page, as soon as we know where you're going to be for your trade area, we get that location page up, because that already starts to create some buzz. Then the lease is signed, then you can add your address to your location page. You can set up Google My Business, which is huge. People still Google, and because of our brilliant name, they tend to find us fairly easily. So we do a lot with Google campaigns. Google ads do work really well. So setting up your Google My Business page is important, and we have tons of pictures that you can use until you have your own student pictures to put up there. But that little window of time between signing your lease and opening the doors is your heaviest workload. I can truly tell you that is the time where you just have to put your head down and go. and it doesn't last forever. It's part of the journey, but it's really the busiest time as an owner is that little window of time because your studio is under construction and your marketing is taking off and you're also having your teacher in the mix, hopefully helping you with some of these things. But it goes fast. It goes really fast, especially once your permits are in, if you need permits. It's a really quick build out. So just mentally prepare yourself. It's a 3-month push, and the harder you work during that 3 months, the better off you're going to be. The quicker you're going to get bigger as as your enrollment grows. Because once you open your doors, like I said, it kind of shifts to more organic word of mouth. You're still marketing, but if you can really push hard before for that grand opening, I've got folks out in they're in Fort Worth area, and their big opening is next week, and they've got the DJ, the radio DJ out there. They've got the news coming. They've got NFL players with the booth. They've got food trucks. I mean, it's going to be great. It's that kind of event for your big opening, and that can draw so many different people into the community. So that should be your focus, not your build out. Everybody wants to get preoccupied with the build out. Focus on marketing. It's going to pay off. This is just a snippet.
Question for you, Robert. Do parents sign a waiver for their child? If so, does it include the right for CAC to use their photo in marketing?
Oh, absolutely. It's one of the form fields, like as they're going through registration, you can't pass go until you do the photo acknowledgement. And that doesn't mean a parent can't sign their kid up if they are not okay with us using the pictures, but that's a registration over the phone. And that's a big notation in our book that we keep at the studio to let the teachers know, hey, don't be using this kid's picture. We like to include the student though on our group shots that we do. And if a kid's parent doesn't want them to be, in the photo, we can still have them a part of the group, but we have a smiley face that the kid holds up in front of their face so they can still be a part of the group and not feeling excluded, because that's not fun for a kid. But yes, that's part of the registration process, is that photo release acknowledgement that we may use those pictures in marketing and different things like that. Good? Okay. Cool. Yeah, these are just a few of the things. There's so much stuff in Canva at this point because we do have a lot of creative owners, which I borrow their marketing materials all the time. We share everything. You just have to make a copy of what they've created, but everything's ready to go. It's plug and play. There's QR code generators in Canva that can generate that code for your particular piece of marketing. It's great. Trifold brochures. We always do like a big pop-up banner. So those events, like where you have a table at and you're talking to families, that this is on the right is actually one of those pop-up posters. They're great to have at those events. Now, partnering with the schools. In some markets, this is a challenge. Sometimes they just block you right at the gate, just trying to get in and get the flyers out, and it's just like Fort Knox. So there are alternative ways to get in and get in with the school and let them pass out your stuff. But sometimes it involves becoming a partner in education with that school, which all that really means is you're going to end up writing a check or providing a service to the school, whatever. In the beginning, we don't really care how you get in. We just want the information to go out because those are your students in that elementary school. What we're looking at here was a project that I took on. I don't recommend this project as a first-year owner because it took a long time, but something modified along these lines is fine. But this was a 14 by 14 foot mural. If you look closely, it's all individual 1 foot squares, but I had partnered with this particular elementary school, and 200 families roughly came into my studio to work on their little square. And they didn't know what this was going to be. Their square would just say G for green, and they had to bring in all this green stuff to glue down to their board. Or maybe their square had some white and some blue, some green, whatever. They just worked on their little 1 foot by 1 foot square. And then when it was all done, I brought it all to the elementary school, and they had their faculty get this whole huge thing installed, and it was their bobcat. It was their mascot for the school. And then there's a beautiful plaque next to it that says, in collaboration with children's art classes, and it's in their cafeteria, and it's huge. And it's great presence for my business. And a lot of families were able to sign their kids up because now they knew about us. So those type of engagements can be a way where you can work with the school without paying the school. So you can do an activity or an event early on, even before your studio is open. You can have your teacher go out and maybe do a clay project with the fourth graders, whatever. We just want the flyers out. That's the bottom line. We just want to get the information out to that school. So I'm pretty versed in different ways to get in with the school. We have some training on how to go in and present scholarships to the school to get them excited about working with you. But those schools that care about the kids, they are all about what we do. This is not a hard sale. This is such a great thing for kids, and any team of people at an elementary school or middle school that actually care about their students are in love with this program and do promote us. We've got a lot of franchisees doing different school events right now because it is that time of year. The Meet the Teacher events, the fall festivals, things like that. Great way for you to have that activity for the kids and then engage the family and talk about your program. Few pictures here of different community events at different locations. Down here with Montessa and her big scissors, this was her ribbon cutting event. This is if you join with like the Chamber of Commerce, they'll bring out all the chamber people to your grand opening and they'll have that big ribbon and you can have your picture and they put it in the newspaper and make a big to-do. It's always a good thing, I think, to do the chamber for at least your first year in business. You meet a lot of different business owners and you get good connections as well. Like you might meet a great drywaller that can drywall the walls in your studio. Different connections like that. I shared with Dennis, I think last night, another studio was spotlighted by Fox Local News. That's happening more and more where studio owners are getting spotlighted and highlighted on the local news, which is great exposure for your business. I love seeing that. And usually every market that we're in has a resource there for kids. It's getting more and more to be online, but there are nationwide websites such as Macaroni Kid, Kids Out and About. There's different websites where parents are already subscribing to that site and they have like 55,000 people that they reach. Those are great avenues for you to utilize in the beginning. And then we track, when somebody signs up, how did you hear about us? Keep an eye on what's working. You don't want to spend money on something that's not bringing you registrations, but there's a lot of different things no matter where you are. And we identify which ones to use to get you going. And there are some publications that still exist. Usually they're pretty thirsty for content. So if there's, local things to do for the weekend and you want to publish an open house, you usually can do that for free. This is one that's local here. We had a Sugar Skull workshop coming up in Halloween time. So we were able to post that event. I don't think this cost us anything actually for this publication. So there are some newspapers that still exist. Usually you see them at your restaurants and those stands where it's a free take one. Those type of publications people look at. That's the end of our slides. We did it. Happy to open it up to you guys. I see there's more questions in the chat. Did we cover those?
I've got one more from Luke. Other than location signage, what activity tends to bring in the most students?
Like at events? Is that what we're talking about?
Or
I
just
think
like,
just-
yeah, whether it's events
yeah.
or you mentioned farmers markets, getting into schools, like what's like the best like ROI marketing activity other than you mentioned like visibility and
It's so our go-to activity for all events, Luke, is block printing. It's the best. The kids love it. Whether they're 2 or 20, they all can participate. And it's as simple as this. It's a little foam block that's pretty thin. And the kids can come up to your table and carve into their little block, whatever design they want to do. We have the little wooden sticks. And then I roll ink on their block. And you take a flyer and you place it on top of their block and they rub, and they pull it back. And it's a, mirror image of their little design. So they create their own little block print. And then they have your flyer because it's on the back of your flyer. It's the go-to. I have done a lot of these events and my table is always the busy table with all the children because it's instant excitement for them to see their little design. And then it gives the opportunity for you, if you have your teacher helping, although I have plenty of business owners that can do this, we have full training on it. But it's a great way to connect with families because it takes the kids a couple minutes to do the project. So but it's pretty quick. I recommend that to every person on our team and they all do it. It's good.
But to add to that, Luke, I think it's a cast a wide net in your community, right? The
Yes.
school engagement is huge, absolutely huge. And if you guys know people, PTA, think about all those, because that's getting to the masses, right? And then the
Right.
strategic events, all the localized events, anything where families are going, all of our communities have that. I mean, I can think about, I live in a town of 50,000 people called El Dorado Hills, and we've got all our schools, there's always events going on because we become a communal business. And that's the key. And Stephanie touched on the fact that, build that first 75 to 100 students and the customer acquisition cost is going to be higher, right? That's our initial push. But then you get that, that organic growth because parents talk to parents, kids talk to kids, siblings, and it really starts to grow. So, we'll put a strategic marketing and advertising plan. But she's so right that the heavy lifting is once we sign that lease. You should get up in the morning and go to bed at night going, I'm opening with 100 students, no matter what. And we'll figure out how to get there.
Right.
Are art teachers a good? I mean, just like, can you take them to dinner or like, I'm trying to think of like if you could tap into art teachers, it feels like that would be but you said schools can be, they
Well,
can put up
here's the
blockers.
problem with working art teachers.
Mhm.
Think about this. Think about being that person, right? Getting up at 6 a.m., going all day with their kids at the local public school, and then coming to your studio till 8 o'clock at night. That's like a recipe for a really grouchy art teacher. I would say if you have an art teacher that's working during the week, have that person on Saturdays and do events and stuff with that person. But it's best to find somebody who doesn't have that full-time gig because they're going to still have to come in and prep. You want somebody who's fresh at your studio. Remember, they're your face. So worn out, bedraggled teacher who's been working all day long. But tap into those art teachers who know of art teachers that might be retired. There's not that many art teacher positions out there in the world anymore because they keep cutting art from the schools. So we have a bigger pool of people. But it honestly, Luke, with Indeed, too many applications to even sift through. Like there's a lot of
No,
opportunity.
I didn't mean to bring them in as a teacher. I meant like, can you network with them for like for recruiting purposes, or do you
Sure.
guys ever do things like that? Or
Oh, sure. And I have a lot of people that know, like maybe their wife is a teacher or their Sunday school teacher works in the school. I mean, it's all about who you know. So network for sure. It's better to have somebody recommended to you, always. Any other questions?
I want to tag on to the marketing question here. Art instructions, obviously, very traditional product and traditional in-person community-based, marketing, high touch relationship with families. Love all that. Have you had owners that, wanted to like really lean hard on the digital side and try to like change the ratio? Because, I've talked to some, businesses during all my explorations, and they say, oh, it's all online. We need foot traffic because they already know where we're at, and we have a marketing firm that does it. So it's almost kind of like plug and play with your zip code. And it sounds like a very different sort of way to market this than obviously the stuff it has a lot of value and has a ceiling on how much you can scale it.
We do it all. Honestly, we do it all. There's the in-person events, but also social media marketing has been very effective as well at the different studios. I know that we focus on getting Facebook and Instagram active as soon as possible, and then putting content on that consistently has also fared very well. More and more though, just as of late, like I was mentioning before, social influencers in the community coming into your studio, taking video reels and then blasting out all of that to their followers has really impacted our business owners in a great way as well. So you don't want to just do one thing. Like Dennis said, cast that big net, see what's going to work for you. Every market's a little bit different. So figure out which one that you're going to keep investing your money into. I've had studio owners do radio ads, not good. They're not good. It's a waste of money. Those little mail flyer things where you can target, those get thrown away. You know, there's certain things where I'm going to say don't spend your money on it, but then there's other things where maybe more social media marketing for you, more ad campaigns, that kind of thing is going to be more effective where you're at. But do it all. Do it all in the beginning. Go big.
Stephanie, what percentage, and you know, this might be too specific, but people using like Google AdWords to be driving, you know, so in search results, we're coming up higher and they're paying their way through Google AdWords and stuff.
As of late, Scott's been actually working with every single franchisee doing those campaigns for at least 3 months. And then we also started working with Social Made Simple, which is a marketing firm, lead generation, that type of thing. That has been fantastic. We've got, we're using them here locally because I don't have time to be posting stuff to Facebook and Instagram. So they do all of that stuff for me. And then they give us all the leads. And my mother is on the phone calling these people we've converted. I don't know. There's a lot of leads from that. And there's different options, and it's, there's a monthly spend. You can choose how long you want to work with them, but that's available to our franchisees at a lower price as well, which is proving to be great.
Any other questions?
My question there about marketing is just one flavor of sort of a broad question I have, and I feel like you could take this 10 different ways. You know,
Okay.
I think what's amazing about franchising is that, you know, your mom had a year one, and then you had a year one, and then here now you've had like 40 year ones all at once. You know, so what? How much variation do you find from the blueprint, and how has any of the sort of learnings from other places in the country, other styles of people selling this product, you know, have come back into the business?
Are you talking students year one? Are you talking business owner year one?
I mean, being as a business owner. So like for instance, you mentioned about the build out. I'd seen the blueprints before, but I think what was new information for me today is you said I've got the paint codes, so you can have these exact colors. We've got a company that'll send you these pieces of art. So like a true blueprint that is like for a facsimile of, you know, your successful corporate locations. I guess I'm asking, how much, so I'm a data guy, sorry, you know, you got to know about the average and the standard deviation. You know, how much deviation have you seen, have your owners tried to put into this business? And, you know, are you recognizing which of those variations, you know, don't work versus the ones that do, kind of like you said about radio and direct mail?
I think a lot of those things were discovered really early on. I think Dennis can agree with me. When we first launched as a franchise, we didn't have a lot of things in place like we do now. Paint colors, all that stuff was already there. But the sign company, for instance, the national brokerage team that's in place, that wasn't there. The things that I think that we learned from the most that we do now was the first couple franchise owners, it was highly recommended that they hire an art teacher for their teacher, but it was not required. I mean, that's a huge requirement of the franchise now, knowing what we learned from the first studios that were open that didn't have that individual in place. Those type of things I feel like have we've had some growing pains. We've been franchising now for 5 years, and I think the first 3 years of this have been a lot of adjustments. Not so much anymore. I think it's pretty much dialed in.
Yeah, to add to that, RJ, and I get where you're going to data sets and what's best practices and what's working, and can we take a uniform approach to the country? I don't think we're there yet, just to be transparent.
No.
I think we're getting there. I think we're getting more information as we're opening so many more studios now. But, you know, I'm an old school KISS guy. I'm not a SWAT guy. What I see is so much of it is about you and your effort and sticking to the budget and not going off budget. You know, if something's not working, adjust. But really, you know, I always break it out. I go over 1,200 franchisees across 10 brands, and I have overachievers, I have achievers, and I have underachievers in every single brand. And the only differentiator between achievers and overachievers is the overachievers take our go-to-market strategy, and this is all my brands, not just CAC. and they inject it with steroids and they go above and beyond. And I'll give you a real world example. She was just mentioning that's the Fort Worth location. They're doing everything right now, right? They're over investing. They're going to open with over 100 students, and they're doing everything, their effort. Achievers catch up to my overachievers. They just got a slower hockey stick of growth. My underachievers tend to be the smartest person in the room. They can't be mentored. They can't follow a system, and they struggle. And I have them in every single brand. So my job is always to detect those people ahead of time, because it's not going to be a good marriage, right? And so they're going to struggle. They're not going to be happy. And, you know, so the biggest thing is, I don't think we can really quantify exactly what works, you know, generically in every single market. It's still a little bit of trial and error what's working. But for example, you have somebody that knows the principal of a local elementary school. Oh, take them out to dinner. Yeah, I mean, that's a contact, and get into that school system. That is the path of least resistance, getting validation from schools. Think about it. They own the children. We just want to be a partner with them.
Well said. Well, if there are no other questions and questions come up later, by all means, I think all of you have my email and calendar. I'm happy to grab some time with you. Same thing with Dennis. I think this is recording, so we'll get you guys a recorded copy of this meeting as well.
And then Sean and Michelle will figure out follow-up with each of you individually. You know, everybody's at a little bit of a different stage. And we'll just go from here and see if it's a good fit. But appreciate you all coming today. And everybody have a great weekend.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Great to see everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.